have been meaning to speak with you.
I still can't believe we escaped the Ashwinders.
You may not realize it, but you are the talk of the school since you saved me that day.
I wonder how everyone knows about it.
I told my mother in the hope that she would be more forgiving of what I have been up to if it came from me. She likely told other professors, and news travels quickly. Unfortunately, she might, in fact, have been even less forgiving than I'd hoped.
I don't blame her for being concerned. We have been involved in some dangerous activities.
As the Ashwinders were locking me up and threatening my life, it did occur to me that my mother may have been right.
Has Officer Singer done anything with the evidence we provided?
She has not. Harlow is as strong as ever. Someone needs to stop him, whether it is us or Officer Singer. If someone had stopped the monsters like him in Matabeleland, my father would be alive today.
What exactly happened to your father?
It was a beautiful day. My mother had gone to tend to a neighbor who was ill, and so my father and I were galloping in the savannah.
Galloping? Your father was also an animagus, I take it?
He could become the most majestic giraffe, and he would carry me on his back, my arms around his neck. We were on our way home when we surprised a group of bandits who had come from our village. One of them saw me just as he removed a scarf from his face. He shouted and then aimed his rifle.
He didn't want you to identify him.
Exactly. In an instant, my father bowed his neck to protect me and was hit. As he fell, my father changed back into his human form. When the bandits saw this, they turned and ran in fear. Magic terrified them, and then he was gone. And it was all my fault.
Your fault? How so?
He died protecting me. If I had been capable of protecting myself, he would still be alive today. My mother and I tried to go on without him, but it became too much for us there. A few years later, we left to come to Scotland.
Do you think taking down the Ashwinders will avenge your father's death?
No. Vengeance is not what drives me. My father would not want that. He and my mother raised me to believe that it is a privilege to be able to fight for those who cannot. I know there is risk involved, but I feel it is worth it. I am glad you seem to think so too.
What does your mother think about all of this?
Well, as you saw, she worries a great deal. She is an excellent seer, but I think it bothers her to this day that she did not see my father's death coming. She misses him, as do I. So I believe on some level she understands my need to seek justice in a small way, but that does not mean that she likes it.
Do you think your father would approve of the things we've been doing?
Oh my, that is a good question. In theory, yes. Although he would worry as my mother does. But I think he, of all people, would understand my persistence. My father never shied away from a fight for good, no matter how ruthless the foe. And I think he would have enjoyed knowing that I had a compatriot like you.
I'm sorry, Natty. I can't imagine what you've been through. Your father sounds exceptional.
He was. Truly extraordinary. And thank you for your kind words. We all have our burdens. My father had a saying about that.
Yes, I remember. Rain does not fall on one roof alone.
Exactly. Soon you and I will put an end to the Ashwinders, beginning with Harlow. And once he is gone, we will turn our attention to Rookwood. We are making progress, and we will succeed. Thank you again for saving me. You deserve all of the praise you have received.
Somebody, help! I've been kidnapped!
Sir, are you all right? You seem to be in some distress.
All right? Do I look look all right. I've been kidnapped.
How can you be kidnapped when you're right here?
What sort of question is that? Of course I'm right here. I've more than one frame. Do you only have one home? It's my other frame. It's been stolen. And by students, no less. They paid filthy thieves to steal my other frame.
Did that really happen, or are you simply being overdramatic?
Of course it happened! I heard it straight from the horse's mouth! Oh, she is a rather horse-faced girl, that Astoria Cricket. She and her friends were moaning about me of all the nerve. Then I heard her plot to enlist a gang of good-for-nothings to have me stolen from the Three Broomsticks. That's why my other frame hung, half another place, though I suppose one could do worse. I once knew a portrait who ended up in the Hog's Head. No one's heard from him since.
Right. So back to your frame.
Ah, yes. There I was, powdering my wig, and the next thing I knew, I was being manhandled by rogues and carried off. As if I can afford not to be at my post. I do important work for the headmaster, and I need my other frame back at the Three Broomsticks.
Just who is Astoria Cricket, and what would she want with your frame?
She's a fourth-year troublemaker, that's who. She and her band of hoodlums discuss all sorts of misdeeds right under my nose, and then resent me for overhearing them. I can only assume they took my frame in some misguided attempt to punish me for doing my job.
What do you mean you do important work for the headmaster?
Let's just say I overhear quite a bit in Serona's fine establishment, and the headmaster likes to know all about it. He's come to count on me in this regard. Reminds me of my prefect days.
I don't suppose you have any idea where your stolen frame was taken. Can you see anything from it?
I most certainly can. They brought me to a ruin of all places. Some crumbling atrocity surrounded by water from the sound of it. Oh, I do also recall seeing the coast on the way.
I could look into the matter for you.
Oh, would you? How marvelous. Do it quickly, though, won't you? The place they took me to is quite beneath me. Off you go, then.
You're my Summoner's Court opponent, Professor Ronan.
Indeed I am. Professors are allowed to have fun once in a while too, you know.
Of course. I look forward to playing against you.
And I you. I've been playing this for eons, so you haven't a chance of winning. How about we get started anyway?
I'm ready.
No time like the present. Accio! We all make mistakes.
Accio!
I do not recall teaching you how to play like that. Accio! Nicely done.
Accio!
Accio! We all make mistakes. And there you have it. Yet another opportunity to learn and improve. Delightful to see such mastery from one your age. Well done. You've beaten me at my own game.
I had a good teacher.
A flatterer, I see. Although I dare say it's not unwarranted. I shall accept the compliment humbly. As the new Summoner's Court champion, you have earned a token of recognition. Do not let it go to your head.
How are there so many lectures in herbology?
Where did you get your dragonhide gloves?
Revelio.
Apology. You know my gloves went mysteriously missing.
As a motherborn, I never expected to come face to face with you.
I'm not ready for Professor Bin's lecture. Forgot my pillows.
In today's lesson, we will cover a truly thrilling event. The Goblin Rebellion of 1752 and all its triumphant tragedy. But more specifically, we will address the devastating effect it had on the wizard milling industry. Actually, we do know the number. 632. But history occurs outside the classroom. And look, it's time for my constitutional. One can practically osmose the history flowing through Hogwarts.
I think the professor wants us to follow him.
And now for a stroll to the bell tower entrance hall. Along with the rest of the castle, it was completed in the late early Middle Ages. The hall and the bell towers that loom above it contain myriad interesting artifacts.
I've never been so bored in my life as in history of magic.
Good to see you again. Recovered from that nasty bout of dragon pox, have we?
That wasn't me, Professor. I'm new here.
Are you? Well then, welcome. No doubt you're eagerly anticipating my analysis of various wizarding councils, codes, statutes, and of course, goblin rebellions. Not all goblins are rebellious. Some venture into wizarding politics, such as Eargit the Ugly. Some are talented artisans, such as Bragbor the Boastful.
Did you say Bragball? I know that name. Lord Gok said he was an ancestor of Ranrock.
Well known for his metalwork. I would imagine much of his goblin-wrought iron and silver has survived to this very day. Now, where were we? Oh yes. Back to our class topic for today. Grimbold Weft. Another notable historical figure. He's right nearby. Curious students can find him on display here in the bell tower entrance hall. I recommend that all students introduce themselves to this hero.
Searching for Grimbold Weft is so dull. I'd rather be in this class.
Such as sewing buttons on witches and wizards.
Revelio.
He never strays from the bell tower entrance. Students with a thirst for knowledge do well to seek him out.
This is a centuries-old likeness of Pangadon. Fearless mountain and devoted study companion. People have always loved their pets. I find that comforting.
Revelio.
At least we're out of the classroom.
This isn't quite right. Searching.
This Grimbold Weft sounds like a help.
Revelio.
Oh yes, I see you found Grimbold Weft.
Why didn't you tell us it was just his skull?
Well, of course he's just a skull. Everyone knows Grimbold Weft died of dragonpox in 1753. Now, let's turn our attention to the agreeability and general good nature of Sir Athbuddle. He's also nearby. See what you can learn from him for your next assignment. Standing in eternal but symbolic watch over the bell tower is a retinue of loyal knights, or rather, statues of knights, I should clarify. Keen-eyed students will spot the statue of Sir Athbuddle of the cheerful countenance nestled among the ranks. His fame was not won by vanquishing foes in single combat, nor by slaying bloodthirsty dragon, but rather in training yards and sculleries. His warm and approachable demeanor was celebrated by old friends and newcomers alike. I encourage everyone to make the waving statue's acquaintance.
Revelio.
Our students often complain about the many staircases at Hogwarts.
What I wouldn't give to be back on a broom right now.
Professor Binns, I found the statue of Sir Athbuddle.
Ah, well done. Alas, Sir Afpuddle's affability was his undoing. Died instantly trying to befriend a basilisk. Eye contact is not always to be encouraged. So beloved was he that even some goblins mourned his passing. Of course, that did not bode well with the rest of the goblins, most of whom could not abide mourning the loss of a wizard.
Goblins and wizard kind will never trust each other.
Yes, well, it takes a cauldron to raise a chisperful, as they say. History does tend to repeat. It is a series of patterns, a thought both comforting and disconcerting. The wise student, such as yourself, will learn from it. History is written by those who do their schoolwork, so they say. Or at least, I like to say that.
How can we do so much and accomplish so little?
If you fail history of magic, you're doomed to repeat it. The class, that is.
Revelio. This place has seen better days.
Better luck next time.
I can feed a rat, or it can feed you. I prefer the latter. Oh, that warrants a look.
Hazel must be here somewhere. Revelio. Come on, Hazel. Arrest them, Professor. No, you don't. Settle yourself. I mean you no harm. Revelio. Arrest the man. I can take Hazel back to a vivarium now. I should let Madame Bugbrook know she's safe.
You've had too much fire whiskey if you think you can outdo my...
Did you find my pointy pony?
Madam Bugbrook, I found your unicorn friend Hazel.
Oh, what a relief! Is she all right? Are you all right? Do you have a safe place for her to stay?
We're both fine. And I have a safe place for her at Hogwarts.
You've a kind heart, you do. I'm relieved and thankful that you'll take care of her. I shall miss my sweet pointy pony, but I know she's safer away from the poachers. Do give her a nice brushing for me, won't you? Take good care of Hazel now.
Astoria Cricket?
That depends. Am I in trouble?
Ferdinand Pratt thinks you should be. Says you stole his frame.
I wouldn't call it stolen. Relocated's more like it. How do I put this nicely? Ferdinand Pratt is a postulant boil, and he's lucky I didn't have him sealed in a wall.
He truly is rather foul, isn't he?
All he does is spy on students in here and report back to the headmaster. Sometimes, if there's nothing to report, he'll make it up. I spent 4 hours in detention last week, all because he told Black that I was planning to drain the lake, whatever that means. It was the last straw. He and his frame had to go.
May I ask where you put him?
Oh, I didn't put him anywhere. The frame is likely with the fine gents I paid to snatch it. They camp in a ruin by the coast. I just wanted it far enough away that I'd never have to think about Ferdinand Pratt ever again.
You do know he's screaming in the library as we speak.
Oh, for the love of Merlin. If you ask me, he's got nothing to scream about. I could have had him put in the hogshead. The pampered Pratt would have hated it. Grimy walls, smell of goats. And the patrons, they eat snooty princes like Ferdinand for dinner. But what's done is done. He isn't here anymore, and if I were you, I should enjoy it. Lovely chatting with you.
You made it.
I take it this means you had some luck at the library?
It took a few hours and some eye-watering maps, but I think this might be the cave Doran told us about.
Impressive. Especially with how little information he gave us.
Well, I'm still not sure this is the cave, but it did seem the most promising. I stumbled across some folklore about a cave in the area that people avoid. Seemed the perfect place to hide something of value. It's a bit of a leap, I confess, but might a mysterious item such as a special moonstone be hidden in an equally mysterious cave? I think I'm desperate for anything at this point.
Did you discover why people avoid this cave?
Ridiculous, really. Rumour was that the cave drove people mad. I couldn't find any account by someone who had been in the cave, though. So either it is a rumour, or anyone who went in wasn't in any state to speak of it afterwards.
Well, we're here. We might as well have a look.
Agreed. I wonder if you'd go blind from staring directly at a moonstone.
You don't think the rumours about the cave are true, do you?
I suppose we'll find out, won't we? It's another aggressive one!
Leviosa!
What is going on with that? Getting in a bit of practice, are we?
Revelio. Bombarda. Depulso. Revelio. Revelio. Confringo. Bombarda. Lumos.
Lumos.
Depulso. Revelio.
Voipers.
I beg your pardon?
This must be how the rumor about the cave started. The Fwooper's song is said to drive anyone who hears it mad.
Revelio.
If the moonstone is here and so are Fwoopers, I wonder if it's being protected.
Accio. Revelio.
Why am I not surprised? First the Fwoopas and now this.
Accio!
We need to find moths for those spinners. Perhaps the runes on the walls have something to do with finding the moths.
Lumos.
Lumos! If we pull the rings and match the runes, I suspect we'll find the moths.
Accio! Lumos. Lumos. Depulso.
If we pull the rings and match the runes, I suspect we'll find the moths. Another obstacle. No matter. I'm sure we can work out a way across.
Accio! Revelio. Accio! Bombarda.
Getting in a bit of practice, are we?
Revelio. Revelio. Expelliarmus!
Getting in a bit active, are we?
Revelio. Accio. Revelio. Lumos.
Lumos.
Lumos. Revelio. Cabalzo.
Merlin,
Lumos.
it's beautiful. You did it! I was hoping we wouldn't have to do this again.
Confringo. Bombarda. Leviosa. Expelliarmus. Revelio.
Where the water's bubbling. How odd.
Should we take a closer look?
You read my mind. Merlin, it's even more beautiful close up. It's got to be here, I just know it. Getting in a bit of practice, are we? Given what Fwoopers are known to do, I never thought I'd be so happy to see this many of them.
I don't know. I've been listening to them for a while now, and I'm starting to lose my mind.
Very funny. I was just thinking how it's proof that poachers haven't been here, assuming this is where the Moonstone is. Which means we're one step ahead of them.
Revelio.
We found it! It's like staring directly at the moon. Well, we found what we came for. Now we just need to bring it to the henge.
Well done, Poppy. This did end up being the right cave after all.
A good thing, too. We need every advantage over the poachers if we're to get to the Snidgets first. We should do as Doran suggested and bring the Moonstone to the henge.
Shall we?
We shall. If we leave now, we should make it there by nightfall. That's the henge, precisely where Doran said it would be. But now that we're here, I'm not entirely sure how to feel. We knew we were at the cave for the Moonstone, but Doran didn't tell us what to expect when we placed the stone in the henge.
Whatever it is, it had better have to do with Snidgets.
The clock is ticking in that regard, isn't it? Let's make our way down. We're nearly at the end of this. I think that's it over there. I think we can safely say we know where the Moonstone goes.
Whoa!
Oh. That was a mooncalf dance. Do you know how rare it is to see even one? They only ever happen under a full moon. Though I suppose the moonstone allowed it to happen now.
Is the pattern they left behind on the ground normal?
All part of the dance. No one pattern is ever the same, though. We'll need to draw this one to get a better sense of it. Can't wait to tell Gran that I've managed to see not one, but 2 mooncalf dances. She'll be jealous.
You've seen this before?
It was pure luck the first time. I was on High Wing, or I'd never have spotted it. It was the night Well, the night I met High Wing, actually,
If you don't want to talk about it, we don't have to.
I'd actually like you to know. About 5 years ago, High Wing had been captured by poachers. At first, they planned to sell her, but soon decided they wanted to kill her instead. More money, I suppose. I'd finally had enough. I freed High Wing and we ran. We'd flown for ages when I spotted mooncalves dancing below and we landed to watch them. It felt like an omen. A good one. A sign that the worst was over.
What do you mean you'd had enough and the worst was over?
You see, the night I freed High Wing was also the night I ran away from home. A poacher camp. I come from a family of poachers.
Merlin? I don't know what to say, Poppy. I can't imagine what that must have been like for you.
I never fitted in, but the older I got, the more apparent it became. Gran tried for years to convince my parents to let me live with her. Suffice it to say, when I left with High Wing, I flew straight for her house.
How brave. I'm glad you escaped.
So am I. There were so many creatures I was unable to help when I was younger. Now that's all I want to do.
Poppy, you're only one person. You can't save them all.
I can try, and I've had a bit of help so far. I've never told anyone any of this, but I'm glad that you know. It's nice to have someone to talk about it with.
What was it like growing up in a family of poachers?
The thing I remember most was how much we moved around, always chasing the next big kill. It was chaotic and dangerous and nowhere a child should ever grow up.
Do your parents know about the things you do now? Saving that dragon from the fighting ring, for instance.
We don't speak, or rather, they don't speak to me. Last I heard, they were in Borneo trying to make their fortunes there. Acromantulas. However, I wouldn't be surprised if word has got back to them. Some days a part of me hopes that it has. Now that I'm older, I wish I could talk to them, get them to see sense. But sadly, I suspect that wouldn't do any good.
We were around so many poachers in the tent. Were you not worried about being recognized?
Poachers are nomadic, and most of the ones in the area aren't any I'd grown up with. That said, I suspect someone must have recognized me. That's how they got to Gran.
I'm glad you told me.
We should get back to Doran. He'll need to see the symbol, and we've got poachers to beat. If you collect the moonstone, I can make a quick drawing of the symbol for Doran.
Revelio! Are you finished with the drawing?
Just barely. I think the pattern's a bird. At least that's what it looks like.
Didn't the journal say the key to finding the Snidget lies in the moonlight?
Of course. That's it. We need to show this to Doran. Not that I'd know where to find him at this hour. Perhaps we should head back to the castle and we can track him down after a good night's sleep.
Agreed. I'm ready to leave if you are.